Hi everyone, you're watching the virtual Amicus, and I'm Jay Lodha. So today's topic for discussion would be on building a career and environmental law. And we have somebody who is a very big name, not just in the field of environmental law, but as well as media and entertainment law. Today we are joined by Mr. Sudhir Mishra, sir, and he's the founder and managing partner, Trust Legal, India's leading media and broadcasting and environmental law firm, and door tenant number 5, Barrister Chambers, London. And just to give you all a brief introduction about Sir, Sir founded Trust Legal, which is a RSG Consulting 2019 top law firm in India. Sir is one of the leading eminent media broadcasting environmental lawyers in the country. Sir has also developed a considerable litigation practice. He co-chaired the New York State Bar Association Bank in 2010. And Sir is also on the advisory board of publications of Business World and Exchange for Media. He's the founder and managing partner of a full service law firm, Trust Legal, that specializes in telecom laws, infrastructure laws, music laws, ADR, health and environment laws. The firm's litigation practice is growing phenomenally well. And with more than 70 cases that are filed before TEDSAT, representing various media and entertainment giants in the field, the firm's High Court, Supreme Court practice is highly respected in the field of environmental law, infrastructure, and healthcare laws. The firm is also recognized for its litigation practice by India Business Law Journal in the year 2020, I beg your pardon. In 2017, World Health and Wellness awarded Trust Legal as Law Firm of the Year under the category Healthcare. And Sir is also has been on numerous occasions invited to speak at various conferences such as fifth Smart Cities Conclave Awards 2017 and Enviro Health Conferences 2017. Sir has also been selected as for one of the US government's most prestigious professional exchange programs for foreign opinion makers offered to a very few people across the world, which is called International Visitors Leadership Program, sponsored by the US May 2005. And Sir has also a richly vast experience in presenting clients both on the corporate and litigation side. And well, the list goes on and on. He's also avidly writes for leading publications such as the Hindu, the Sunday Indian, Economic Times, etc. So sir, thank you so much, sir. We had to cut short the introduction a bit, but it's so nice of you that you kindly consented. You said yes instantly for a session on the virtual Amicus, sir. Anything that you wish to say before we start with our segment, sir?
Yeah, Jed, it's a pleasure to be here, and I'm seeing you grow in legal profession, also as a law student, later as a young lawyer. You represent a beautiful city, which is a favorite city for most of us, Jaipur. And my idea of legal practice in India is that the centers of excellence have to move beyond Delhi and Mumbai, and it has to go down to new economic centers of Bangalore, Hyderabad, and Jaipur.
Very well, sir. And so, since the topic that we mentioned was on environmental law, because one of the areas where sir's specialization lies in the field of environmental law, I'll just give a very quick introduction as to what environmental law is all about to all the viewers. So, the need for protection and conservation of environment and sustainable use of natural resources is also reflected in our constitutional framework and in the international commitments. So, the Constitution under Article Part 4A, which is specifically Article 51A of the Fundamental Rights, casts a duty on every citizen of India to protect and improve the natural environment, including forests, lakes, rivers, wildlife, as well as to have compassion for living creatures. Further, the Constitution of India also under Part 4 and Article 48 provides for and explicitly mentions directive principles of state policy that stipulate that the state shall endeavor to protect and improve the environment and safeguard the forests and wildlife of the country. So there are various legislations under this whole umbrella of what we call as and what is known as the environmental laws or environment protection law. That includes National Green Tribunal Act, the Air Prevention Control of Pollution Act, Water Prevention Control of Pollution Act, the Environment Protection Act 1986, and Hazardous Waste Management Regulations. So, sir, my first question has to be, being a first generation lawyer and being the founder of one of the largest law firms in the country in the field of media entertainment, you name it, and Trust Legal is always there. Sir, how did you engineer this journey? If you could share your journey with us.
So, Jay, life has come full circle. 1998, I was interviewed for IS. That was my fourth attempt. And I cleared the mains of IS in 1994 and 1997. And 94, I didn't reach the stage of interview. 98, which was my last attempt, I did give the interview for IS, didn't clear it. And I was 28 at that year. It was a very disappointing start because I had finished law in 97, but neither I was very interested in law, nor I used to understand law much. I had taken law as an option in my UPSC mains, and I scored very poorly in the mains examination of IS2. But something is called destiny. There are two kinds of people who succeed in life or who decide how they will shape up their life. One is where right from childhood you are very clear that what you will become, how you will become, the Sachin Tendulkars and Harish Salves, who have broadly their chart out plan and then they accordingly work on that. People like me are like we do trial and error method, and I'm very upfront about it that we do trial and error method. And I had no career focus, no clarity which way I'll go. When I didn't clear is, I went as a reluctant law graduate to legal profession. I had to work for 1 year with a senior advocate. It was not very inspiring at that time. That person was not a senior advocate also, but I also worked with a very young lawyer who was my direct senior. We had a bar council rule, so we had to go to a particular senior for a 15 years standing. So that was not an exciting part. But the person directly with whom I worked, he was actually responsible to a large extent for my initial interest in law. 99, I got properly independent. And I never worked under any law firm, Jay. I never worked under any senior advocate properly, except for my mandatory 1 year training, which Bar Council used to mandate at that time. When I started the law practice, I had no particular interest in shaping a law firm. I had no plan that eventually I'll create a law firm of this size. I had no focus that where I'll earn money from. My only focus was how do I stop taking money from my father? Because he used to pay me in those days 2,500 rupees. And I used to somehow survive in that. My only feeling was how do I stop this drain of wealth from my family side? So environmental law happened more by chance because I was the secretary of Environmental Law Society in Campus Law Center. So I went to few of the people who had used my services as a law student. While I was preparing for IS, I was also working for wildlife because I had a deep interest in wildlife right from childhood. But I never thought it can be a career or something. To my surprise, Jay, in 99, 2000, and I will tell you what I did in Jaipur High Court after 2003, and that's a history now. The 2000, that the moment I went to few of those people who had used my services, all of them were very excited. He said, "Chalo, koi to hai who's thinking about coming and practicing environmental law." So within 6 months in 99, I had two small retainerships, which was double the money which my father was sending. And within 1 year, long story short, I was roughly representing 13 NGOs. And after 3 years of my environmental law practice, it was purely environmental law practice, Jay. From 1998 to 2009, it was like a roller coaster ride. 2005, you rightly said, I was taken for the International Visitor Leadership Program, where Soli Sorabji was the earlier alumni. Uh, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is the alumni. Atal Bihari Vajpayee is the alumni of that exchange program. So I was chosen for my environmental leadership. I had done close to 65 PILs by 2005, including Sariska Tiger Reserve PIL, where I stopped the road going from Sariska Tiger Reserve in Jaipur High Court. So why? Because I thought it's detrimental to the cause of environment. I still remember at that time there was a very great lawyer, just a lawyer who became a later a judge and later became chief justice. He and I used to appear together, Justice Nirmal Kumar Jain. We both were appearing. His two sons are lawyers. One is a trial legal litigation head today. Other one is working in Jaipur only, Nitin. And I had a great time appearing in environmental matters with Senior Jain at that time. So the country was open. I used to appear in some place called uh, Sikkim for a moths and butterfly illegal trade. Next day, I was appearing in Jodhpur High Court opposing the bail application of a film star. Third day, I was into Kotdwar opposing a bail application of a poacher. Fourth day, I was doing a PIL in Bangalore High Court, stopping a firing range from a national park. So I had a riot kind of situation where there was no competition, there was no junior, no munshi, and I had a scooter and I used to run around. I had no competition there. From 98 till now today, the moment I was past my UPSC journey, I have not faced a single day of financial deprivation. I have not faced a single day where I had to struggle for a client. I had not to face a single day when I was dull. I'm still sitting here every day, pandemic, endemic, flu, COVID, first wave COVID victim. I was not deterred by anything. The rasta banta gaya कारवा बनता गया.
Wow, sir, what an inspirational journey this has been, sir. So, and I hope my viewers are definitely going to benefit, from the journey and from your experiences, rich experiences. Now, sir, coming to air pollution, now the Honorable Supreme Court on number of occasions has pulled up center with respect to air pollution levels.
Before we go into
Yeah,
specifics, let me also tell you
yeah,
very
sure,
important
sir.
thing
Please,
for
please,
viewers.
please, sir. Please, please.
What I want to say that sometime when journey picks you up, sometime you pick up the journey. Sometimes journey picks you up. You are part of a larger plan. So when I started environmental law practice to a large extent, 2008-9 tak bhi, even if Harish Salve was the amicus in the forest bench, we were appearing virtually every Friday in those forest bench matters for different NGOs across India. And there was a climate of environmental conservation in the country from 96 in Godavari University Union of India right up to last application which was being fought in Godavari Union of India. But what I'm trying to say that there was no climate for environmental law. Today, when you said that, when you were describing the ambit of the environmental law, I just want to tell all the young law students and young lawyers who are in doubt or anything that why should I do IPR only? Why should I do tax? Why should I do criminal law practice only? So my suggestion is don't do fragmentation. You pick up clients. You get clients, he will decide your practice. It's a very bold statement I'm saying. Now, what happened? International Bar Association in their virtual hearing few months back had a strange guest who came as a guest there. His name was John Kerry. He was the ex-secretary of state of United States, but he also was the special envoy for the Glasgow climate change conference where Prime Minister Modi also participated. In this International Bar Association conference, John Kerry said every lawyer has to be an environmental lawyer today. So if you are a transactional lawyer, you do merger acquisitions, you need a sound understanding of environmental issues because if tomorrow there will be an issue of climate finance, you'll be able to deal with that. Now, just last week, SEBI has come out with a circular on CSR and sustainability report, which will be mandated to 1,000 plus companies. So first I'll give you the ringside view. Let's then go to the specific. Now, how do you expect a corporate lawyer not to know environmental law? When you are talking about a merger acquisition of a pharmaceutical company or a cement plant, the checklist will require on the term sheet when you will prepare that water contamination was stopped by the earlier company, pollution control board had checked it from that point of view. So all that has to be checked by environmental law. When you are in litigation situation, whether you are using CPC or CRPC or National Green Tribunal Act, you are a mainstream litigation lawyer, but your sound understanding of Environmental Protection Act is mandatory. So what he said from international perspective, I am putting it from Indian perspective, that every lawyer, if you want to survive this planet, you need to have environmental soundboard. Sorry, go ahead now.
Indeed, sir, very valuable insights, sir, with respect to environmental law and how it is interrelated and interconnected to all the fields, and how fragmentation is not required at a very early age of practice. Now, sir, coming back to air pollution, for the past so many years that we've seen various chief justices, have repeatedly given clarion calls for urgent measures that need to be taken to find sustainable solutions to the problem of noxious air that comes out and that is emitted from industries, vehicles, vehicular pollution, dust particles, and most importantly, stubble burning, sir. Now, you think that courts have intervened enough to stop this menace, to stop this problem, or what needs to be done, sir? If you could throw some light.
There is a petition in Delhi High Court in my own name.
Oh, okay.
So that's the most important petition in Delhi High Court today because it has been tagged with court on its own motion. So the court has taken up a matter in 2015. My matter was also filed in 2015. It is going on for almost 7 years now. If anything which happens for air pollution, I file something. So I am the direct intervener now. And let me tell you, in 2005, I had told someone that I'll never file a PIL in my own name because I will represent NGOs. I'll never file a PIL. But what you're saying hurt me so personally. I lost my dad to cancer and he had both liver and lung issues. So, and he had never smoked. All his life, he had prevented himself from getting into this situation. When the doctors saw his report, they said that you are consuming more than 60, 80 cigarettes. So he had never even taken a single cigarette. So I got emotional and I filed this petition. Now, let me tell you, it's not about Delhi, except for Mumbai, where the maybe because the sea it washes away everything. Jaipur, Lucknow, Dehradun, Patna, all these cities, Surat, Ahmedabad, they all will have this problem. You have done so well on your forest conservation. You had a 9-10% of forest cover. Today you have 16 to 18% of forest cover despite your population. You have saved your tigers, you have saved your monkeys, you have saved your elephants because Supreme Court has created the sustainable reports. Supreme Court has decided the park management manuals. Supreme Court has made the no-go and go areas, the buffer zone and the reserve forest classifications. So you know that you can't go to a national park wildlife sanctuary, put plastics, create a colony, put a tent, do whatever you want to do. You can't do that. So your forest and your tiger remain the indicator species. So you have saved a large part of your forest, which is surviving this ecosystem where you have large 130 crore population surviving in this 15% forest cover. Now, when it comes to forest and wildlife, I'm saying I'm satisfied as an environmental lawyer or as an environmentalist. When it comes to solid waste disposal, we are pathetic. Save and except Indore and Surat municipal corporations, most of us don't even have basic sense. I just saw a picture of a Jharkhand city. Somebody asked me to file a PL. The most important tourist site of that place, thronged by all kind of plastics. So when you come to air pollution also, Delhi's geographical condition is so bad that whether it's stubble burning, whether it's poisonous fuel which use, whether the industries is surrounding us, whether the dust on the road, whether the real estate construction which constantly goes on for last 75 years, and where you will stop. So then you have to go into a very deep thinking. Is it only the responsibility of the government? Is the government promoting each and every floor in Defense Colony and Jangpura to buy 6 cars? Or is the government promoting that you go to buy your milk on a car? Or is the government promoting that you don't buy a cycle? Is the government promoting that it's a social status to buy new cars while you don't need them? Is the government promoting that you have a CNG engine, but you will put double the load capacity, and when you climb a flyover, you are basically polluting more than a diesel vehicle? So it's a citizen issue. Now, coming to the courts, I think the courts have overdone it. Courts have overdone it. You know, there is a phase, COVID ka phase chalta hai na, ab low ho gaya, ab high ho gaya. Court had a great time saving the environment. But I think courts have done it enough. You had almost 30, 40 years of activism in this country where courts have tried to protect the tiger, they have protected the forest, they have protected the management plan, they have decided who will be part of the forest advisory committee. But is that the answer? You know, my emphasis on people doing environmental law is not that you go and file litigation. If you want me to talk really, I will prefer that the young lawyers and the young law students who are coming, they should become part of the companies, NGOs, and the corporate law firms advising on pro-sustainability. So if you advise on pro-sustainability, where virtually there is a nil ecosystem today, except for a few of the firms like us who advise very detailed environmental law things and to our clients, there is a huge practice which needs to be developed around that. And litigation is not the answer. Litigation में क्या होता है कि corporates are always in hands-up approach. Litigation is a party time for the NGOs and the corporates are in the hands-up approach. I want to change that narrative. I want the corporates to be responsible. I want them to respect their environmental impact assessment. I want them to respect their environmental clearances. I want them to respect the nature. Who will tell them to do that? If you have more environmentally sensitive lawyers advising their client who are putting money in a project. But why will you have a project in Chhattisgarh or Odisha where you put 5,000 crore and the Gram Sabha will refuse the final operation of the project? So somebody neck will roll. Why can't a good lawyer or a good economist or good environmentalist be part of your decision making who can advise you from that adverse effect? So that's the area of practice we are going. So for example, plastic पे जब ban वैन होने की बात हुई 2019 में, lot of states came up with different plastic rules. So we as a firm give close to 30-35 opinions to leading FMCG e-commerce companies, everybody. How do you deal with plastic? How do you deal with the regulator? How do you deal with the everyday notices of the pollution control boards? So that's the advisory I'm talking about, where there's a lot of potential to grow.
Absolutely, sir. So now, coming to the discharge of effluents and then subsequently the effluents polluting and resulting in pollution of rivers and lakes around. So, what steps can be taken, sir? Is litigation the only way out, or some concrete
Now,
steps need to be taken from government point of view?
so I said very clearly, litigation is past its prime in environmental sphere. I'm partly answering the NGT question also, which you will ask eventually. So there was a time in NGT where every day there'll be hundreds of such matters where you will stop this thing, you will stop that thing, you will stop the effluent discharge. But the fact is, government has now said that no, you create a robust system of regulation. Your regulators have to be empowered, self-regulation of your clearances. You create a lot of these effluent treatment plants, and these are going to be very binding kind of recommendations from the government. But what is happening in the process, and I think it's not a bad idea, that there's a tremendous discouragement to frivolous, motivated litigations, which used to be filed in different forums, including National Green Tribunal. So there has to be some end to that kind of public interest litigation, which used to lack accountability. Your public interest litigation can't be done in shallow. Public interest litigation has to be done with accountability, the way class action suits were done in other countries. So if you want to file a public interest litigation, first come clear that you are clean and you have no motivated reason for doing that. A lot of good public interest litigation will not fly the court curriculum or the expectation of the court, because the courts are burdened by frivolous petitions. So my suggestion again would be affluent discharge. If you ask me, I had gone to see Banaras. I was in Ganga. I feel that affluent discharge system is much better because pollution control boards are managing it better. My two biggest worry is air pollution and solid municipal waste disposal.
Very well, sir. Now that you've already discussed the role of the National Green Tribunal, which is the specialized tribunal under the provisions of the NGT Act for efficacious and efficient disposal of cases with respect to environment pollutions. So now my question is slightly different on a different tangent. There are so many legislations in environmental law, the air, the water, we have forest-related legislations. How does one decide the area of specialization and identify
Uh,
what you're good at? Because now we have the Environment Protection Act, then there's a hazardous waste management regulations.
I tell you, I understood. You know what is happening? I gave an interview. You can check that on if you Google on CNBC to Shirin Bhan in 2004 or 5 or whenever, when there was a particular development project. One of the largest construction company in the country was setting up a township in Maharashtra. And I went ballistic on TV and I said, look, you haven't taken all your clearance. So I got a call that you shouldn't have said that because we have taken all clearances. Even on the TV debate, they kept on fighting, no, we have all the clearances. I was very clear. Now, you know what happens? First, I'll tell you the dilemma of a client. Jay, the biggest problem in legal fraternity is today, we don't understand the requirement of our customer. I'm sorry, I'm using a controversial word, customer. You call him a customer, you call him a client. We have a duty to satisfy his requirement when he seeks justice at your doorsteps. So what happens when you advise a client, if you don't know that there is an environmental clearance, there is a wildlife clearance, there is a forest clearance, there is a consent to establish, there is a consent to operate. If you are in a 10-kilometer periphery of a tiger reserve, then you need different kind of permissions. If you are near a river, then you need setback permissions. If you are near a sea, you need CRZ permissions. And accordingly, your terms of reference will be framed. Accordingly, your environmental impact assessment will be done. Unfortunately, lawyers don't understand all of this. So your question is right. How do you specialize? My point is, first, I'm very much against the specializations. And the first thing I'm going to say, tell me another example about a lawyer who from 1998 to 2009 became synonymous with environmental lawyering. I'm not trying to be pompous. I'm just making a fact here. You got a fellowship under Fulbright Act. You did close to 300 to 350 national park wildlife sanctuaries I toured. 65 to 70 large public interest litigation I did. And I left it all to create a mainstream law firm, Trust Legal, and tried to create mainstream environmental law practice, which is not filing only public interest litigation. I don't do public interest litigation for the sake of it. I defend a company or a corporate which has a genuine environmental issue where it has been dragged for no reason. So the fact is, you have to disrupt your own routine. You have to disrupt your own mindset. In law today, there is so much of opportunity for a person who is client focused, who is customer focused. I'll go a step further. I'll say client focused means, I'll give you one example, Jay. One of the first day when I was assisting my senior, I went to Patiala House. I was a trainee. I had no license. I had a black tie, kala coat, pant. पसीने में देर में पहुंचा 10:02 में पहुंचा. Patiala House used to sit at 10 o'clock in the morning. And my client was waiting on another scooter at the gate. I was parking all drenched and I was nervous also. It was maybe 4th or 5th day. He said, are you confident? And what I had to do, I had to just take a date and just file a reply. So I said, मेरा अभी नया मैटर है, मैं अभी पास आउट किया, अभी मैं सीख रहा हूं. तो बोला, मुझे तो बोल दिया ये बात आप कभी मत सोचना कि मेरे मैटर पर आप सीखोगे. Because I have paid for this matter. I am in your hands for justice. And it hit me so hard what he's saying. 99% of our youngsters today who have this notion in the law school that it's very glamorous profession or something, they lack ownership. They always think somebody else's job is there to do it. Even I used to think that way. He corrected me. The second example, I got a matter of Customs Act. And I had no money literally for almost 2 months. And I had no reason to say no to it. He said, आपने पहले किया है? I said, पहले तो नहीं किया है, पर ये मैटर मैंने अपने सीनियर को असिस्ट किया है. मैंने सच बोला. He said, मंडे को लगा आज हम थर्सडे पे हैं, आप कर लोगे? Because he couldn't afford a bigger lawyer. But he was paying me 5,000 rupees, which was equivalent to my 1 month's expense in 99. I said, मैं कर लूंगा. और मैं इतना तैयार रहूंगा कि you'll be proud of me. Boss, I slept. I had that for breakfast, dinner, lunch, the Customs Act and the judgments. And when I appeared before the district judge, additional district judge, on Monday, I think I was the best prepared person on that subject that day. This is the entire theory of specialization. You have to do the thing. Whether you are a newcomer, you are an old comer, like Jethmalani sir used to say. Ram Jethmalani used to say, that what is there to not to learn? I learn every day. So there's no disparity between you, me, and Simran. We all are same. We have to go and perform our duty as per the requirement of the client. So that notion has to be there that I have to survive. Like we do in the examination hall of 3 years, we try to do our best, whether we are prepared, we have studied, we have not studied. We have to have that 9-hour mentality, 365-day for the rest of our life. And I tell you, there is no competition. Then there is no competition.
Very well, sir. And lastly, sir, what would be your piece of advice to all the young lawyers, law students who are watching this?
My advice is, first, that there is no competition. Be very clear. Second, if anybody tells you that there is competition, run away at least for 200 meters from that person. My third advice is, find your story. Find your story, find your niche. Unless you have a story, nobody is interested in you. Why do we hear Steve Jobs? Why do we see his quotes? Why do we buy them all the time? Why do we hear quotes by Mahatma Gandhi or Subhash Chandra Bose? तुम मुझे खून दो, मैं तुम्हें आजादी दूंगा. स्टीव जॉब्स का नाम पता है किसी को? सैमसंग के फाउंडर का नाम पता है? मुझे तो नहीं पता. नोकिया के फाउंडर का नहीं. फ्लिपकार्ट पता है क्योंकि स्टोरी है. एलन मस्क is a bigger brand than his own Tesla because he has a story. So find your story. First, make yourself a story. And anybody who says, you can't have a story, man, you are nobody, usko apne se 300 meter dur rakho. There is a question here. I'm telling you, the biggest decision in your life would be that don't listen to anybody who says to you, it's very difficult. Honestly speaking, I have never faced a competition. And by the way, I had a very different kind of background. Let me also say that in conclusion, I did my 10th from Siwan, 12th from Baka. Siwan is the remotest part of this country. Electricity used to come once or twice in the day when I did my 10th, literally under the tree. 12th from Baka in science, where there were no laboratories in my school. And then I come to Delhi University. So I had an absolutely rural background. If I can be a door tenant, if I can do my own stuff, I'm sure people who are studying in better law schools and a better places, the only thing they have to be thinking about is where do I find my story? How do I train myself so well? Because it's a profession. And what do you say about a profession? It's not a job like an MBA, like an engineer, like a doctor. In a profession, you have to distinct and create your identity. वो क्या वो बिली बॉल था ना, वो बॉलर जो अंपायर था, ऐसे ऐसे करके वो इट
Billy
वाज हिज
Bowden, sir.
स्टोरी, बिली बॉल
Yes, sir.
या जॉन्टी रोड्स, like Jonty Rhodes. Prime Minister just wrote to him 2 days back. Only one fielder you know in this world, Jonty Rhodes, because he had a story. So find your story.
Very well, sir. What an inspiring session this has been. Extremely insightful, and I'm sure my all the young lawyers and law students who are watching this, all my viewers, will immensely benefit from this bold and extremely fruitful. That I can, to sum it all up, I think has to be one of the most powerful, one of the most power-packed performances by any Amicus on my channel so far. So, sir, thank you so much for being, sir, and we really are, and it was absolutely a pleasure recording this session. And I think the email is mentioned on the channel. Feel free to write to us. We'll be more than happy to do the same, to forward it to my Amicus.
Just to say a final
Yes, sir.
word,
Please, sir.
when you make your story, your sense of learning has to be very, very smart. You have to be like an actor who learns from all those things. For example, if I go to Jaipur High Court, I remember your father. If you discuss with him a legal issue, I have never seen him saying it's very difficult. He said, "हाँ, इसको ऐसे करते हैं. We should have this law. We should have this thing. We should have this thing." When he was not even a senior advocate, when he became a senior advocate, that's the way you pick up your stories. That's where you build your personality. Because I met them when I was in my 30s. I started working with your father when I was in my 30s. When I work with people like Parag Tripathi and people like who have become Supreme Court judges, I see there is something special about one special thing about them. I try to pick them up. So if you meet good people, a good teacher, a good senior, a good classmate who empowers you, who gives you a positivity, hang on to that person. Pick that part from him. Make that part as your part of your personality.
Empowerment and positivity, to sum it all up, and the importance of having a mentor who does the same. Thank you so much, sir. It was a pleasure recording this session.
Thank
And
you. Thank you, Jay. I'm really, really very happy speaking to you. Bye-bye. Take
this is
care.
all mine,
Bye.
sir. Take care. Bye bye, sir.